I can't look away. He's been dancing for over 40 minutes already, and I cannot look away. Is this all there is to life? There's a whole world out there, and I'm sat doing this. I need a hobby. So welcome to Dean Needs a Hobby, the series in which I explore an activity or lifestyle picked entirely through chance. Here you can see a spreadsheet I have made after numerous beer garden conversations, which lists every hobby I could think of. Each hobby is assigned a number, and we are using a random number generator to pick 10, which we put on a spin wheel. So the first to make it on the wheel are origami, cosplay, balloon animals, shooting, foraging, juggling, yoga, skateboarding, crochet, and golf. Going forward, the wheel will be spun at the end of an episode, but as this is the first instance, let's find out what it is we're trying first. And all that leads us to this wheel here. So before we talk about the wheel itself, I do want to point out that one of the things I haven't done before is make a video, or design a set, or video editing, none of this. So whatever I spin on the wheel, consider the video itself to be sort of like an ancillary skill. We're making this up as we go along. I've had the idea. I don't really have the skills to make it, but you know, that's in the spirit of things, isn't it? So we have got origami, cosplaying, balloon animals, shooting, foraging, juggling, yoga, skateboarding, crochet, and golf. So overall, I'm kind of happy with these. There's a nice mix, and I don't really have any experience with any of them, to be honest. I've not tried... God, yeah, no. Maybe a bit of ring fit for the yoga, but it killed me, man. It's not good. So, we could talk about it all day. We'll leave it to the respective episodes. Let's give it our first spin. Foraging. That's an interesting one. It's a pretty cold time of year at the moment, but we'll see what we can do. Well, it's no longer a cold time of year. I procrastinated just long enough for the sun to shine again, but it was finally time to dip my toes into the world of foraging, and I knew just the thing I wanted to try first. So to be quite honest, nature scares me. We stand on the shoulders of the last 300,000 years of human history, where very brave people have tried to figure out what is edible and, more importantly, what isn't. And then that wealth of human knowledge has never been passed to me. I live on planet Earth. I don't know what food looks like. So I think foraging is going to be a great way to, just learn more about where I'm from. I'm a big proponent of the return to monkey philosophy, and I think this is going to be a great first step. That being said, I am not prepared to go full hunter-gatherer just yet. So we need to start with baby steps. If there's one thing I'm comfortable doing at the moment where I'm not going to die, nettles. As you can tell, I'm all gloved up ready to pick them. So I think step one is a little baby step. We're going to try nettle tea. If it's gross, that's fine. We just need to survive the experience, really. And then we'll figure out where to go from there. So we've got a big patch here. However, we are in a nice little field area, and I'm a bit worried about these being used as bathrooms for dogs. Although they are quite high. I think we'll be fine. But let's have a wander first. I don't really know what I'm looking for. I just want to go for younger leaves, is the height of my knowledge. Preferably from the top of the nettle. And we're just going to get enough to make some tea with. Let's have a look. I don't know if this is going to show on camera very well. Hopefully my gloves are thick enough. So something like that, to me, looks like a healthy leaf. Although, we've got eggs. I'm going to try and avoid that for now, if that's possible. I'd rather not disrupt the wildlife, and I don't want to drink eggs. This fella's here, but it doesn't look like he's living there. Okay. Obviously, they do get washed anyway. Let's see. See, I don't know. Now that I'm actually looking at the leaves, I'm starting to really assume the worst about them all. But we'll just harvest and clean to our best ability. At least with tea, shouldn't end up with any floaters. I'll strain it properly. This should be safe. And if I get ill, it's content. So the gloves I got were not thick enough. My fingers really hurt. But we got some. That should be enough for a cuppa. So I'm going to walk home now with a sore finger and just hope. I think I've got some honey at home, so the worst case scenario here is we just fill it with sweet things to the point where you can't taste the nettle. I've heard it's got a spinachy taste, which I'm all for. And when I arrived home, it was time to wash the leaves and make a brew. Cheers. Here's the fruits of our labour for attempt 1. It just smells like grass. I've got to be honest. I'm not really looking forward to this. It just tastes like grass water. I brought this outside with me. That was me just doing the raw nettle taste. I'm going to assume it has to be propelled up. I didn't harvest this honey myself. I did buy this at the shop. We're not at that point yet. I'm not ready to fight the bees. Hopefully this fixes it. It smells the same. I don't know if this counts as a success or a failure, but we did it. And that's the most important thing. We need to figure out where we go from now. But as you can tell, it's a very nice day today. I'm just going to sit and enjoy, or try to enjoy, a nice cup of tea. My embarrassing posturing did little to change the fact that this was absolutely disgusting. Clearly, I have no idea what I'm doing. I was in desperate need of some help, so I reached out to Wild Food UK for some expert advice to get me back on track. Much to my surprise, they offered me a one-on-one foraging session with one of their instructors. Unable to turn down such an amazing opportunity, I peer pressured my good friend Chris into being my driver and cameraman for the day, and off we went to the Lake District to become experts in eating things we find on the floor. And so I'm here at Hutton in the Forest with my good friend Jordan McKeaton, who has very kindly promised to take me on a little foraging tour. I still don't know anything. My life is fully in your hands to make sure I don't eat poison, basically.
Never poisoned myself and never poisoned anyone else, so you're in good hands. Confidence.
Yeah. So yeah, what's the plan?
We're at the Hutton in the Forest Estate. We run courses here all year. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what's available at this time of year, the sort of things that we like to go foraging for, you know, how not to end yourself, and how to find the nicer things that we like to go foraging for. So yeah. Nice one.
And how would this be for someone who doesn't like mushrooms? That's my biggest fear today.
We're not going to find too many mushrooms, or you know, if any actually. The weather's been so dry. We've only just had some rain the last couple of days, so you'll be absolutely fine.
I'm safe.
Yes, you'll be absolutely fine. But just so you know that there are mushrooms. If you've only tried the ones in the shops, there's, you know, a good couple hundred mushrooms out there in the wild that don't taste like the ones in the shops. So
I'll keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sweet. I'll follow you.
Brilliant. Right, let's get started. Yeah.
So what got you into just foraging in general? Is this something you've done since you were a kid or later in life?
So it all started from a friend's house. One of my best mates' dads, he was into like Hugh Fernley, Whittenstall and River Cottage and that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were running around the house, going a bit right basically.
Yeah.
And he kicked us out and gave us a basket and said, go to the woods over there and pick some mushrooms. So we thought, all right then, that's a bit weird, but whatever. So we did, and you know, we went into this woods and all of a sudden we were finding purple mushrooms, orange mushrooms,
Yeah.
big ones, large ones, you know, stinky ones, and within like 10, 15 minutes we were hooked. It's basically like an adult treasure hunt, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
So, yeah, ever since then we went back to the same place and we just went and picked mushrooms, tried to ID them, couldn't really ID them. So, yeah, and then and kind of towards lockdown, I was taking it a bit more seriously. And then once lockdown hit, decided I'd wanted to do this as a job. So,
Yeah.
I basically contacted the company and asked if, you know, how does someone become a professional forager? And the next thing I knew, I was getting trained up. So, yeah.
Sweet.
I've always been interested in nature and being
Yeah.
outside, so that's the main thing. So, nettles are obviously a nice, easy one. If you're
Yeah.
a complete novice forager,
Yeah.
you've obviously foraged them before. I mean, everybody learns how to ID nettles from a really young age. You know, how do you ID them? Well, stick your hand in and find out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they avoid them because of the stings. Well, the stings, yeah, they've got stings on them, but the stings, you know, if I told you every time you sting yourself, you're actually making yourself a little bit happier, you know, would you believe me? Probably not, but the stings themselves contain things like serotonin, and
Yeah.
serotonin is our, you know, happy or pleasure hormone. So I'm not saying we're going to roll around in nettles naked, you're going to go out clubbing later on, but you are getting serotonin. You're also getting choline, which is really good for memory.
Yeah.
And the nettles themselves, they're so good for you, they're so nutritious, they're full of different vitamins. You've got vitamin A, vitamin B, vitamin C. I've got no vitamin D, but you get that when you're out and about foraging anyway. There's high amounts of vitamin K. There's more iron than spinach. They're about 20-25% protein, you know, which is unheard of in a plant. So, you know, they're a natural superfood. A lot of people buy things like goji berries and ashwagandha or things like that.
Yeah.
Nettles, you know, nettles are fantastic. And the stings are destroyed at, I think, around about 60-70 degrees of heat anyway. So you can stick them in the oven and bake them and make little nettle crisps out of the leaves.
Yeah.
You've made a tea,
Yeah.
so you can make nettle tea with them as well. Any wet food, they'll just disappear a bit like spinach.
Okay,
So
yeah.
curries, soups, stocks, stews, you know, stir fries, you're getting all that nutrition out. Vitamin C is quite volatile, so if you cook with nettles, you will lose a bit of vitamin C. But I always like to show people if you eat a nettle raw, it's got a nice pleasant flavour. So what I'm going to get you to do is I'm going to get you to pick your own nettle.
It'll be laying
And
down again.
I'll show you how to pick one.
Okay.
Because there is a method to it. The old phrase is to grasp the nettle. So if you touch it lightly, if you lightly touch it like that, or you're just touching it lightly, that's how you get stung.
Yeah.
The best way to do it is just get where you need to be and grab it.
Yeah.
And then once you've got it, and because the skin on the ends of your fingers is so thick, you shouldn't get stung. It's not a guarantee though. So
let's see if there's a nice looking one.
So once you've got your nettle,
Yep.
you squish it so it's all juicy, and you can eat it raw. So it's a lovely, lovely flavour. Now I'd stay away from any of the nettles. These have got flowers on now.
Yeah.
So the nettles that have flowers on, they start producing these gritty particles,
Yeah.
and then they can upset your urinary tract. So
Okay.
did you pick nettles with flowers on when you made your tea?
No, I'd read that. I tried not to.
Right.
So I did try to
So
avoid.
wasn't that?
Yeah.
I've really got my brain racking for that. So that's a good one there.
Just me being a baby, probably.
So just go in and grab it with your fingertips.
grab and pull.
Yep, grab and pull. That's it. Go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm not stung.
So if you just nip it off,
Just the top bit.
yep, that's it.
Yep.
And what I do, starting from the bottom,
Yeah.
working your way up, and only using the tips of your fingers, you want to scrunch it into a ball.
Do I get rid of the stem?
Yeah, get rid of the stem.
Yep.
So just folding it into your fingertips and being really rough. Think about somebody you really don't like and squish it. Imagine that person is the nettle.
I'm
Or-
getting a bit stung, but
But it's not that bad. If you do
Not
get
awful,
stung,
yeah.
it's quite soft. Now there are some gentle nettles, which these are, and there are some pretty ruthless nettles.
Yeah.
So just keep squishing, and once it starts getting wet, that's when
Yeah.
it should be safe enough to pop in your mouth.
Okay.
And just pop it in, give it a good crunch.
Down the hatch. It's like slightly sweet.
It's got a slight sweet note to it. It's
Yeah.
almost like peas.
Yeah.
And then I have other people say it's a bit like a broccoli stem. So it's a pleasant flavour. And what you'll find, and I'm not saying this is a rule for everything, but what you'll find is the plants that protect themselves through physical means, so with stings or with thorns or things like that, tend to be edible. Because they haven't had to produce these either bitter compounds, like dandelions, for example, they're really bitter.
Yeah.
Or these, deadly compounds like hemlock and stuff like that. They haven't had to produce that because they protect themselves through physical means. So,
Yeah.
So what did you think of the flavour? You like it?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I was expecting not to because the tea was a bit minging.
Was it?
I wasn't a fan of the tea, but
I can't.
no, that was nice.
I can't say I've had the tea before. I've never drank the tea.
I don't recommend it. It doesn't taste like that.
No.
No.
Was it definitely the right plant?
Probably not.
The beauty about nettles is everybody knows what nettles look like. You know how to ID them. They're safe. There's no deadly lookalikes you need to be aware of. They're full of nutrition. They grow absolutely everywhere, so they're abundant and they're free. So you can quite easily pick a bag full of nettles really easily and get all that nutrition. You don't have to go and buy spinach or anything like that. You can just go and pick some nettles. And if you are stinging yourself, well, guess what? You're getting serotonin and you are getting choline. So it's a win-win, really. The Romans, they knew how important nettles were because they used to use them with something called urtication, which was to basically sting yourself like mad, particularly where you had sore joints.
Yeah.
And there was another reason why Romans used nettles. They came over in sandals and whatever their things, tunics and things like that. So they quickly realised that it's not as warm as it is in Rome when they came to Britain. So they used to put them up their clothes, and as they would walk, they would sting, and they would basically promote blood flow and warm them up. The Romans did something called urtication. So if you have arthritis in any joints in your hands and knees or anything like that, and this is backed by science, this has scientifically been proven to be true now. It genuinely does work. And I actually had a lady on a course once. I felt so sorry for her hands were all knobbly and curled up like this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the Romans, they stung themselves where they had sore joints, so give it a go, and she did. So for 20 minutes, she was stinging herself like mad. And we call it distraction therapy, so it stops hurting on the inside, but it starts hurting on the outside.
Yeah.
But the hand went from this to this, it opened up.
Yeah.
And she said, I haven't had movement in my hand like that for years.
Bloody hell.
So nettles, they're a powerful, powerful plant, totally underrated. And yeah, people walk past them and with a little bit of disgust because nettles, they sting you, blah, blah, blah. They're fantastic. Get used to it. If you don't want to get stung, just wear a pair of gloves.
So do you have any forage stash at home? Do you
Like
got
a
preserve
pantry?
jars and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we talking?
Oh, all sorts. Loads of different types of mushrooms, jams, syrups, pickles, ferments. I'm currently making a dandelion mead at the minute,
Oh.
which is really, really nice. It's going to be about 20%, so it's nice and strong as well.
Nice.
This is a lime tree, and it's a really good example of a lime tree. One of the best ways to ID one is if it has a huge bush around it like this, it's a lime tree.
Okay.
It's that easy. You find them a lot in parks and city kind of avenues, and usually all the sucker growth that's at the bottom has been chopped, so it's just the bare trunk. But left to do their own thing, lime trees will produce this huge bush around them. We get 3 different crops of a lime tree. And the first crop are these nice kind of almost translucent, shiny looking leaves.
Yep.
So these leaves are
Very thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can almost see through it sometimes. You don't want to pick these ones. You see the difference in the colour.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is quite papery, a bit tough, whereas that's going to be a bit more soft and succulent. These leaves are basically a lettuce substitute, and you can pick, a decent sized salad off a lime tree within 2 minutes.
Okay.
It doesn't take long at all. And sometimes when you park your car underneath a lime tree, you'll find that there's lots of sticky stuff, and that's what we call honeydew. It's produced by a little aphid, so like a little green fly, and they secrete 100% pure sugar.
I think I know this. A lot of insects will feed off them, won't
Oh
they?
yeah, wasps, bees, they'll be flying all over it. Yeah. So sometimes when you find like little specks on leaves, like You can see there's some kind of sticky stuff on the side there.
Yeah.
If you lick that leaf, it'll be like licking a sugar cube.
It's bug arse juice though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah, no, it's bug poo. You have to get your head around that, but it's 100% pure sugar, just remember.
Went straight from nettle to bug poo.
Yeah.
There was no mushroom in the middle. I was worried about the mushroom. Okay.
Lick it better than that. Come on.
You can't say that on camera. Yeah, it's sweet. I still don't know if I'm past the idea.
So if you pick a lot of leaves that have got those speckles on,
Yeah.
and you put them in your salad, it sweetens the salad up. It's nice. Yeah, you have to get over the idea it's bug poo, but remember it's 100% pure sugar. Now ants, well actually they won't kill aphids, they'll farm them,
Yeah.
and they'll trail behind these aphids because these aphids will have these little droplets of 100% pure sugar. So the ants like the sugar, so
Yeah.
they farm them, which is quite cool. So yeah, if you want to try a leaf, the leaves are lovely.
Yep.
Pop the whole thing in. It's not an offensive flavour. I think it's actually better than lettuce. Lettuce can sometimes be a bit bitter.
Lettuce is crap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just a filler. You know, lettuce goes on top of burgers.
Yeah.
It goes, you know, in a prawn cocktail, things like that. This is quite a mild
Yeah.
flavour, nice and easy.
I actually like the nettle more.
You prefer the nettle? Nettle's got more flavour to it.
Yeah,
hasn't it?
yeah.
yeah. So this is just a bulker.
Yeah.
Just think of it as that. It's just a salad bulker. And that's the first crop. The second crop are actually the flowers. And I think the flowers might actually start coming out soon. Yeah, so these are the start of the flowers.
Yeah.
And you can see each flower comes out with its, I call it a green Nike tick. It reminds me of a Nike tick. So each flower has its own Nike tick. And if you pick the flowers when they're fresh
Yeah.
and put them into salads, they're incredibly sweet. Sometimes, you know, you can smell a lime tree from quite a good distance away because they're a really sweet tree. And then if you dry the flowers, you can make something called TLT or TL. It's like a French tea. Well, it's called linden tea. So these are the dried flowers.
Yeah.
And all you do is you have to pick the green Nike tick when you are collecting them.
Yeah.
You pick your green Nike tick, pop them in a jar, and forget about them. And I left this for, I think it was like 4 months or something.
Yeah.
And they'll kind of naturally ferment on their own, and they'll turn into a nice dry sort of type tea. So if you've got a tea diffuser, you want to pop a handful of that in the tea diffuser.
Yeah.
If you give them a smell, they're a bit like fermented honey, so a bit like mead. You know, a really sweet, lovely aroma.
That does smell good.
It's lovely.
Yeah.
It's really nice tea. The smell is strong, but if you were, I thought I had a caterpillar on me there. if you make the actual tea from it, yeah, we're foraging caterpillars as well. If you make a tea from it, it's actually a very delicate tea. Right. So, what I'm about to teach you next, if you're going to take anything away from today, this is the one you really want to listen in on, because I'm going to introduce you to a family called the carrot family. It's also known as the umbellifer, or the scientific name for them is the Apiaceae family.
Yeah.
The easiest way to remember it is the carrot family, so it's where parsnips come from, carrots come from. And there are some fantastic edibles in this family. It's a huge family, very interesting family. It's one of my favourite families. But it also has the most dangerous things we have, not just in Britain, but potentially on the northern hemisphere of the entire planet.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is called cow parsley. You might have heard of it before.
Yeah.
Some people, it depends where you are geographically, some people call it chervil. There's a decent leaf of it over here, actually. Now, the way to ID the carrot family, there's sort of two features that run throughout the entire family. The first one is, if you look at the shape of the leaves, it's almost in a pyramid shape. So it looks like it's a pyramid or like a triangle. And if you have that sort of leaf shape and you have white umbrella shaped flowers, so you can see from these flowers, they all meet from one place, just like an umbrella would do. If you have these two features, you can pretty much guarantee you're in the carrot family. And with that comes caution.
Yeah.
You know, so in the back of your mind, I want you to just have this little alarm bell that goes, right, okay, I know I need to be super careful here,
Yeah.
because there are some pretty dangerous things in this family. Now, it's relatively simple to navigate if you have a little bit of common sense. So,
Right.
and obviously, if you come on a course and been trained by an actual professional, you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So this is cow parsley. It's down in books as being a kind of a good edible, has a mild parsley-like flavour. I disagree. I think it tastes a bit like grass. You do get a kind of parsley kind of flavour from it sometimes, but to be honest with you, I don't really use it too often.
Yeah.
And if someone was to read that in a book and then not read the rest of the page, and the rest of the page would probably have said, but be careful because it looks like something else called hemlock or poison hemlock. It's quite dangerous. So if I show you a picture of hemlock next to cow parsley in the book, you'll understand why. My rule to you is, as a novice forager, don't forage anything with feathery leaves.
Right. Okay.
So you see how the leaves are feathery or fern-like?
Yeah.
Until you start to know what you're doing,
Yeah.
right, that will keep you super safe. So white umbrella-shaped flowers, lovely. These are what we call pinnate. The leaves are pinnate, which means it splits many times. So if you'll have a look at in the book is hemlock.
Yeah.
Yep. And here in my hand is cow parsley. So you can see just how similar these two things are. Now, there are some pretty big differences.
Yeah.
The first one being that the stem of hemlock has purple splotches on it.
Right.
Right, so that's a warning sign. There's a few things out there in the wild that have purple splotches on.
Yeah.
It tends to be a warning sign. Also, the stem is round and hairless. Whereas cow parsley, if you have a look at the stem, there's fine hairs all over it.
Yeah.
It has a celery shape to it rather than a roundness.
Right. Yeah.
And hasn't got purple splotches on it.
Yeah.
So there's some pretty big differences.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have to really not know what you were doing to accidentally ID this as hemlock. So yeah, don't mistake your cow parsley for your hemlock. I always say to people, this is a low reward or high risk plant.
Yeah.
You wouldn't put any money on something that was low reward and high risk.
Yeah.
So there's another plant which I'll show you in just a minute, which is a better alternative,
Yeah.
which doesn't look like hemlock and definitely tastes of parsley. So we're going to talk about this plant. This is quite a large plant, so you can see the quite large leaves. If I was to, maybe show you this, so what sort of family do you think we might be in?
Is it the carrot still?
Yep. Why did you say that?
They've got the pyramid.
It's got a pyramid to it. Yep, fantastic. If you have a look at the old stems of the flowers, what sort of flowers do you think it had?
It's the umbrella shape.
Umbrella shaped again, yeah. So this is something called common hogweed, and this is one of my favourite things to forage every single year. Now, everybody might shrivel up a little bit if they hear the word hogweed because they all know about something called giant hogweed.
Yeah.
And giant hogweed is really dangerous.
Right.
So, hemlock is bad if you eat it, but you can touch it for a few minutes, isn't a problem. Giant hogweed, if you touch it, particularly if you get the sap on your skin, it can give you like severe burns, like second-degree burns.
Right.
And they'll last for anywhere up to 7 years. So you end up with these horrible, big, juicy blisters all over wherever you've got it. So common hogweed is its little brother.
Yeah.
So the way to ID hogweed, you can see it's not as feathery, well, if feathery at all, compared to your cow parsley and your hemlock water dropwort. It's a much larger lobed leaf like this. And you'll see it's covered in hairs. So all around it's covered in hairs, particularly on the top of the leaf. You can see, the hairs, they almost shimmer in the light.
Yeah.
So you've got all those hairs on the top of the leaf. And you do get hints of purple or pink on the stem, but you can see it's one block colour rather than having splotches.
Right, yeah.
And you'll see it has a celery shape to it as well. So that's how you ID hogweed, really, really simple. Now, giant hogweed, well, the clue's in the name. It's much, much bigger than this. So you can see that stem there.
Yeah.
It's probably 2 metres tall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giant hogweed can get 4.5 metres tall.
Right.
So much, much taller.
Yeah.
Also, giant hogweed on the stem has purple splotches on it. What do we know about purple splotches?
Danger.
Yeah, it's a warning sign. The leaves for common hogweed, I mean, it's pretty decent sized, fully grown leaf. Giant hogweed leaves are this big.
Yeah.
And the flower heads are this big.
Right.
So there are some huge differences. Giant hogweed likes to live near water and streams, so if you want to be super, super careful, just don't pick your hogweed next to a river or a stream or anything.
Yep.
Pick it in the fields is absolutely fine. And what you're after as foragers is the young shoots Now we're kind of getting towards the end of that season now, but there are still some knocking around. There we go. That's a lovely piece of hogweed.
Right.
So you can see how you've got the stem and the leaf is all curled up.
Yeah.
We treat this like an asparagus substitute.
Right, okay.
So you pop this into a pan of boiling water for a minute or so, and then chuck it in a pan full of salt and butter and all the good stuff. And it's it's an asparagus substitute. It doesn't taste like asparagus.
Yeah.
It has a totally unique flavour. I suppose it's kind of similar to celery.
Yeah.
But it tastes like hogweed. It has a unique flavour to itself. So yeah, we'll put this in a tart. We'll make a cheesy bechamel sauce, put it on a piece of puff pastry, and it makes a fantastic hogweed cheese tart. You can just have it as a vegetable on the side of your sausage and mash or things like that.
Yeah.
There's a plant over here actually, which I'll show you, which has a wicked parsley-like flavour.
Yeah.
And doesn't look like hemlock.
Okay.
So it's a low-risk, high-reward plant.
Yeah.
So we have these flowers.
Yep. Umbrella again.
Yep. And we have these leaves. Bit harder to see it on this one, but still
carrot.
Still carrot, yeah. So we're in the same family.
Yep.
This is something called ground elder. And it's called that because it grows on the ground, creates a mat. So you can see it kind of makes a mat on the floor. And the leaves are kind of similar to elder tree leaves. If you have a look at the stem, it has the
celery shape.
Right?
Yep.
So this is an edible. And it's a good edible, actually. A lot of gardeners, I can spot a gardener when I'm doing a course and they look at this stuff, their eye starts twitching because it's basically impossible to get rid of. Once it's in the garden, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So what we're after as foragers, these leaves are perfectly fine to use.
Yep.
But they're a bit like spinach at this stage. They're a bit tough. They're not good for salads, but you can fry them or wilt them like a spinach.
Yeah.
And they'll disappear into nothing and they'll have a lovely parsley-like smell. So if I pass you a piece and crush it up, you should hopefully get a nice, almost like raw carrot mixed with parsley. There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. So you don't have to think hard about it. Whereas with your cow parsley, you kind of do. You have to kind of trick yourself into thinking it's like parsley.
Right.
So does this look anything like hemlock?
No.
No. It's not feathery leaved. It's got similar white flowers. It's much smaller. Hemlock, I've seen hemlock a good 2.5 meters tall. Hemlock can get quite large.
Yeah.
This is as tall as this ever gets.
Right. Okay.
So, hip height. And once it has flowered, so once you've got these white umbrella shaped flowers, you don't want to eat it because it becomes a diuretic, a laxative, and also a soporific, which means it makes you go quite sleepy. So if you ate enough of it, you'd wake up in poo and pee.
Again.
You'd have to eat your body weight in it for that to happen.
Okay,
but it's just a warning. Don't eat it once it's flowered. But you can. It's what we call a cut and come again plant. You cut it all down, mow it all down, and you can come back and you'll get these lovely young shoots. So just like our hogweed over there.
Yeah.
The leaves are all curled up like that. When they're like that, you can use them in salads and they're fantastic. The way to ID it is quite unique. It has what we call a trifoliate leaf system. So it has these kind of 3 leaves. This is very common in the plant world, 2 across, 1 up, So that's trifoliate. And then what you have at the base of that is these 2 funky looking leaves. Now what happens is at some point this was 1 leaf and it decided it was going to split off. So it splits off. And when that's happened, it leaves a notch.
Right.
So you can see where the split happened.
Okay.
So you've got this unsymmetrical side to the leaf.
Yeah.
And then obviously if you crush it up and you're getting parsley and raw carrot and it's growing low to the ground and it looks a bit like an elder tree leaf, it's ground elder. Mega safe. So there's obviously all these green leaves around. What is it? Do you know what it is? All these green leaves. No?
Have you told me?
No. Most people know this. When you think of foraging, people like blackberries.
I'm a city guy. Yeah.
You're a city guy, okay.
Yeah.
This is your wild garlic.
Ah, okay. I've heard a lot about it while I was doing my first bit of research, but
I'm not surprised. It's basically a forager's bread and butter.
Right.
So almost a little bit cliche, but there's a reason for it. It's because it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's 4 different crops that we get off the plant, and the first crop being the leaves. So these leaves are spear-shaped
Yep.
with a kind of single ridge up its spine, and you can see very faintly the veins of the leaf. They run parallel, kind of up the leaf. If you put it to your ear, you fold it in half, put it to your ear, it squeaks. So it's a very squeaky leaf. Now that you've done that, you've broke it up a little bit. If you put it to your nose, you'll get a fantastic garlic smell. It's
100%.
unmistakable, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's about 7 different types of wild garlics we get in the UK. This is the main one. So this is Allium ursinum. And anything in the wild that has a garlic or onion smell to it is edible, full stop.
Yeah.
So again, coming back to your nose is really helping you ID things. So if you have that spear-shaped leaf, a garlic smell coming from it, it's wild garlic.
Yeah.
So if you rip a piece of the leaf off, give it a good crunch, you'll get a lovely mild garlic flavour, followed with almost that heat, a little bit of heat coming through as well.
Builds up. It's nothing when you put it in first.
But then all of a sudden it starts warming up, So I call this garlic level 1.
Yeah.
There's 4 levels. Garlic level 1 is the leaf. Now the leaves you can use all sorts of different things. You can make wild garlic pesto pasta. You can make wild garlic pesto. You can put it in butter. So make a wild garlic butter. Do you like steak?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you cook your steak, you're supposed to let it rest for as long as it's been cooked. If you get wild garlic butter, you put it into a shape of a sausage and cut a disc off it, put it on top of your steak. It'll melt into your steak.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic. It's lovely. After that, you then get the unopened flowers. Now we're kind of, as you can see, that they're not very happy at the minute. They're on their way out.
Right.
All that weather we had for the past few weeks has really sent them, down. They're not happy at all. So we're kind of towards the end of the season now.
Yeah.
But earlier on, you'd have had these cone shapes, these unopened flowers. I call that garlic level 2. So these like sort of cones.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is your garlic level 2. And then after that, you get these lovely white flowers. I always say they look like white fireworks. So these white flowers, that's garlic level 3. So every step, you're just turning up the heat, basically.
Yeah.
And then you've got what I call DEFCON 4.
Yep.
Right? Really hot. So if you like strong English mustard or horseradish,
Can't get enough of it, yeah.
wasabi, things like that, these green seed pods, after the petals have dropped, are a bit like that. So at the moment, you can see that they're all green seed pods. So if you're up
Is
to
this a one-pod deal, is it?
No. This is the whole head deal.
The whole head?
Yes.
Including the stem bit? Do I just put everything in here?
Just put the whole thing in. Put the whole thing in, give it a good crunch. They're lovely and juicy, strong garlic flavour, but whoa, straight away.
Oh, it's spicy.
It's hot. Yeah.
Ooh.
It's a real hot kick to it.
Yeah.
So you can do all sorts with these. There's a famous restaurant called Noma, which is like a Danish restaurant, and it won World Restaurant of the Year for a few years on the trot. Yes.
Yeah, I know Noma. Yeah.
So they got these seed pods, they pickled them, or fermented them, which I think it was pickled, and they put them with their dishes.
Oh, that burn on the way down.
It's still burning all the way down. Yeah. So they're fantastic, particularly if you like that sort of hot garlic flavour.
Yeah.
They're wonderful. Use it any way you want. Soup, stock, stews. I make wild garlic, nettle soup, wild garlic, and hogweed soup's lovely.
Yeah.
Do you use hogweed shoots that I showed you earlier? And it's just fantastic. It's abundant. It grows everywhere. It was brought by the Romans, so it's been here for about 2,000 years.
Does that still count as invasive? Is there a cut-off for invasive?
I think there's a cut-off, There's other members. There's three-cornered leek, which is a type of wild garlic, and there's also a few flowered garlic or leek as well. They are classed as invasive. They haven't been around as long. And once they get going, if you look around, you can see what wild garlic can do. They can do the same sort of thing.
I think you should try this one, Chris. I think I like it more than real garlic.
Yeah?
Yeah, this one looks clean. Try some of that.
Or just literally just...
Just chew on it. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Takes a while for the thing to come up.
You like garlic bread, you can make a wild garlic butter, Make a homemade wild garlic bread.
That's really nice.
Yeah.
It's good,
Do you want to
isn't
try the pod bit?
Garlic level 4, DEFCON 4. Really hot. If you like hot flavours.
I've got a sore throat. I think this will send me off.
No, it'll help. It'll help
Yeah,
the
yeah.
sore throat.
Reckon so.
This will
Yeah,
clear you up.
it's got sort of like an anti-bacterial, antiseptic property to it.
In the hatch, down the hatch. Wow.
And this stuff's everywhere, is it?
Everywhere.
We'll
Likes
use
dark, damp, shaded areas. So you won't find it in the middle of a field.
Yeah.
You'll find it in woodlands near streams and rivers. It likes dappled sunlight. It doesn't like direct sunlight. You'll
Yeah.
see the wild garlic that's in the direct sunlight is the yellow, you know, because it's not very happy.
So if there are people that are interested in doing this, what I'm doing with you,
Yeah.
how should they go about it?
So we have a website, which is Wild Food UK. We've been running courses for 12, 13 years. We're one of the largest foraging companies in the UK. So we've got courses all the way down to Cornwall, running all the way up to Ayrshire and Edinburgh. So we have all our courses up on the website. We have some sort of courses which are a bit cheaper for people. So no food at the end, maybe a nibble while we walk around. And then our normal courses, which are laid out, basically we go for a 2.5 hour walk, show everybody how to forage for themselves. It's an educational thing, so it's not like we have, you know, up to 15, 18 people picking baskets loads. It's education. It's not. It's not your opportunity to go foraging for yourself.
Yeah.
It's to show you how to forage for yourself. And so we'll pick some things while we walk around. Just I'll do that, and then we'll make a salad. And we cook with whatever we found on the day. So if we find mushrooms, we'll do creamy mushroom pasta, or for instance, what I'm doing at the moment, the food is I'll carry things like wild garlic hogweed soup, sometimes dandelion root coffee or elderflower champagne as well. And I do wild garlic cheese scones for a starter. Ooh. With a hogweed and harissa tart, wild garlic pesto pasta, and a fruit tart for dessert. So
Nice.
yeah, it's a really good experience. You don't have to be into foraging. You just have to kind of be interested in being outside and reconnecting with nature and having basically just a nice fun time.
Is there anything from foraging you think like your average person could gain? Is what would you
So much.
push as the main draw?
So why is foraging good? So what I think people can take away from foraging is, one, you're getting outside. We're all learning now that being outside is really good for you. You're walking around, so you're exercising. The food that you are picking is usually, most of the time, 99% of the time, organic.
Yeah.
You know, there's no chemicals used or anything like that. It's abundant, so there's enough for everyone to go around. There's no plastic wrapped around it. There's no air miles on it, you know, so it's usually healthy for you. So it's good for the mind, good for the body, good for the soul. And, you know, it's something that we all did, you know, a long time ago. And we've gotten very reliant on supermarkets and things like that. So, yeah, just being outside, picking your own food, saving some money, and eating healthier.
Yeah.
You know, there's not really many cons. Yes, it can be dangerous, but that's why you go on one of the foraging courses and you stop yourself from doing something silly. Okay, so this is a nice easy one again for novice foragers, an interesting one as well. This is called hedge garlic, or Jack by the hedge, or garlic mustard is another one.
Yep.
This is a Marmite plant, so it's like a 50-50. People like it or hate it, basically.
Yeah.
We're all genetically different. So you know how some people like coriander?
Yeah.
Well, it's a bit like that. So some people like it, some people don't. So it's a plant that has a 2-year life cycle. So the first year is spent quite low to the ground. So you see all those little leaves that look like almost kidney shaped?
Yeah.
All on the ground. That's first year stuff. So it's just taking in as much energy from the sun as possible, putting all that energy into a root system, and then storing it like a battery until the next year. And it produces a flowering stem, which is what we've got here.
Yeah.
It has kind of kidney-shaped leaves when it's young, but on the stem, the flowering stem, they're almost arrow-shaped. And also, almost heart-shaped as well.
Yeah, yeah.
With this kind of lobed edges kind of on the side there. So I'll give you a leaf. Now, we'll eat this together and I'll go through the different flavours because it can change. So if you put the whole leaf in, no. Put the whole leaf in.
whole leaf?
The whole leaf in. Give it a good crunch. And it starts off kind of garlicky, kind of mustard flavour.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
Did you just get pure bitterness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah. So it's
There's no garlic mustard thing there.
It's the same for me. So you basically, now it tastes like somebody put a paracetamol on your tongue.
It does, yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't happen for everyone. So if I have a group of 15 people, it's usually down the middle. 7 people are turning around and going, this is really nice. I just get garlic, I just get kind of mustard flavour, it's lovely. The other 7 are going, oh, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not for everyone. But to be fair, we have lost the ability to eat bitter things.
Yeah.
Because of things like donuts and sugar and things like that. What you can do is, these are the seed pods.
Yeah.
And you can get a seed pod and kind of scrape it through your teeth. And you've got to scrape the seeds out.
Yeah.
And the seeds are a lot nicer. They're not as bad.
They're just from here?
Yep. You can make a mustard from these seeds. Now, it'd take a very, very long time. Again, coming back to practicality.
Still minging.
Still don't like it?
Yeah,
no. That's a big fat no from you, that, innit?
I'd prefer to go back to the fucking bug juice.
The bug poo. Yeah.
Oh.
So,
No.
this one isn't for you then,
No.
unfortunately. But this is one of your wild garlics. This is another one of the garlics. This has got what we call cruciform flowers. It's these dainty little white flowers. They're in a cruciform shape, so a cross shape.
Yeah.
Usually means that it's in what we call the brassica family, so broccoli, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, they're all in the wider brassica family. So yeah, not for everyone. I don't eat it, to be honest. I have put it in like a bechamel cheese sauce and it's quite nice.
Yeah.
But that's the cheese and the bechamel.
Yeah, of course,
the most,
So yeah, thank you for that. I've
very
definitely learned a lot today.
Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to tell people before I let you go today?
Well, just if you are going to go out foraging after watching this, just remember the first rule of foraging is if you don't know what it is, don't shove it in your mouth. If you'd like to learn about foraging, then head to our website at wildfooduk.com and you can see all our foraging courses all the way down from Cornwall. My foraging courses are anywhere from Yorkshire to Scotland, so any of them courses will be with me. And yeah, I look forward to your next hobby and see what you're doing.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
I know you've got some exciting things in the pipeline, so I wish
Not
you
sure
all
on
the
next
best.
episode. Yeah, it's a good list,
Yeah.
but we're still going to learn.
I have got you some hogweed.
Oh, brilliant.
So I was thinking you can take that away with you. Take that home.
I've never been given flowers before. Look at that.
I know men don't get flowers, do they?
No.
Yeah.
It's full.
So all you want to do is blanch that in boiling water for a couple of minutes and then throw it in the pan with salt, pepper and butter, plenty of butter, and have it as a vegetable, or put it in a creamy bechamel sauce, chopped up, and put it on a pastry tart. It's lovely, really, really nice.
Thank you for that.
You're very
Brilliant.
welcome.
Right.
Pleasure.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
There was only one thing left to do, and while Jordan's recipe with the common hogweed sounded great, I knew I had to go back and gather some wild garlic as well. After grabbing what seemed to be enough, I rushed home to cook my first foraged foods meal. With the garlic and hogweed I foraged from Hutton in the forest, and a steak I foraged from the shelves of my local Morrison's, I set out to make myself a garlic butter topped steak with a side of sauteed hogweed, finished with a fried egg on top because a stranger online said it goes well. I want to give a massive thank you to Wild Food UK, and especially Jordan for taking his time in helping make this video possible. If you have even the slightest interest in foraging, I strongly suggest looking at the courses they run in your area. I was with Jordan for 3 hours, and there was so much more I had to leave on the cutting room floor for this video. It is absolutely worth going for yourself and hearing the rest of what they have to teach. A link is in the description below for their website. I really enjoyed my time with foraging. I've spent my entire life so far walking past delicious and healthy foods without even knowing it. There was something special about experiencing such new flavours while getting more in touch with your local environment. As Jordan said earlier, this is definitely an activity that is good for your mind, body and soul. If nothing else, it was all worth it just for the wild garlic. Seriously, just go find and then try wild garlic as soon as you can. Please. I do just want to point out that I used my sister's kitchen for this, so please ignore the Mickey Mouse plate and the fork that has more colours than I can even name. Please do not comment on that. Thank you. This was a lot more work than going to the shops. And it was a gift from Jordan, so I'm hoping this goes well. Please remember this is not a cooking episode. Don't judge any of what you just saw, especially burning the handle. Whoops. I'm going to try with the hogweed, because I'm pretty certain the wild garlic's going to just be banging. It's going to be great. So we'll start with this. That is very soft. Maybe I've overcooked it. I hope not. Wish me luck. That's such a strong flavour. But definitely not in a bad way. Jordan was right when he says it tastes of hogweed. I can't think of anything I would relate this to. But it's definitely good. That's not bad at all. It was a lot better than I expected. I wasn't really getting any smells when I was cooking it. I went in for a sniff a few times and didn't get anything. Let's try the steak. There's no way this could be bad. That's fucking amazing. This is so good. I think I prefer wild garlic over real garlic. And I promise that was the last mention of wild garlic, but god damn I love that stuff. First we need to use a random number generator to figure out which one of these 42 hobbies is going to take the slot of foraging. We land on number 17, which is jewellery making. Okay, that's cool. So the first thing we need to do is goodbye foraging and hello jewellery making. Let me just do that very quickly. This isn't a raisin. There we go. Hopefully I spelled jewellery right. And all that's left to do now is to spin. Oh, I'll see you there.